Oh, it looks like we were still offline, but I think we're back.
Oh, great. Now the stream's playing for me.
Oh no.
I gotta go pause that when I get a moment.
Yeah, no worries. So we collect Spider Ball from Thardis. Again, this is an item you can skip entirely for any %. But it's neat. It saves on some spiderless setups that are not necessarily hard, but they can. There's one set of rooms, or there's 2 rooms that it's rather difficult for beginners. So by getting Plasma Beam, you can just shut down the stream and then not have to watch Thardis.
That's close.
Oh, you like? I saw the R jump. You like almost fell off.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now I'm gonna pause the stream. This cutscene is technically. Sorry, you talk.
So we collected Boost Ball. That triggers a cutscene when you come back into this big room. There's Ridley. He's flying around. He has like this blue tint on his model in this room, and he's like, he has a shadow that's like way larger than him. It's kind of weird. But there it is. Like, it's weird how Prime has a very like, it's very inconsistent when it comes to its skippable cutscenes. There's like 2 of them in early Phendrana. Some boss like some when you kill bosses, you can't skip the cutscenes. I think they fixed that in Trilogy, or at least like in PAL. I'm not sure which version of the game started to let you skip more cutscenes. This spider track that he's rolling up right now, at least for me, you can actually grab it without Spider Ball. It's just a really dumb, like 5 bomb setup you need to bomb jump up. Really only useful if you're doing like a randomizer or a like max % NSJ.
Well, max %
or
NSJ.
not NSJ. Sorry, like if you were doing some weird run where you had to do it that way. But
yeah. Okay.
Spiderless. Let's make a new category. New meme category. 10 out of 10 category. And then there's another like tower with a spider track in it that it's like one of the few locations actually where like Spider Ball actually is required if you're unless you're doing like unless you have like floaty jump or something like that. It's kind of weird.
Unless you're a TAS.
Or TAS, yeah. Unless you're Hazel. Shoutouts to Hazel actually. Watch the any % TAS of this. It's a 37-minute in-game time TAS and it's ridiculous. So yeah, second trip through Chozo Ice Temple to grab a Chozo artifact. Otherwise, there's nothing else that's here that's interesting. Oh, is Chozo cleanup coming up, by the way?
Yes, Chozo cleanup is on its way.
So I'm gonna have to find stuff to talk about. It's gonna be terrible. Chozo cleanup. We have a lot more items now. Boost Ball, Spider Ball, all 4 beams. It's kind of nuts. Or not nuts. It's just
Chozo
there's still
cleanup
plenty
is
of items that we skipped.
Yeah.
In Chozo, and we have to go and clear up that area. The issue is Chozo is has the most items in any of all the regions. It has like 30-something items. It's actually quite a large area too. So you get to traverse like almost the entire region.
It's the longest like section where you're doing the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's cathartic if you like it being sort of relaxing and not too like sort of demanding on, oh, you know, I might die in mines or something, but
it's actually very technical.
It really is. It's just there's like nothing to talk about because you're either skipping Spider Ball to be like, oh yeah, you can just jump on this, or like the one thing that's worth talking about, I feel like, is there's like one out of bounds wall crawl, and that's it.
And it's not even that long.
Yeah. It's still pretty cool because you don't see it in like any other run. Oh yeah, Zipfix mentioned there's a 19-minute task with no walls. It's a modded version of Prime where you can just jump through every room. I think with like instant loads too, it's really cool. Kids these days can't go fast in Prime. You gotta take care of the walls first. And then, nice enough, they just put the ice beam combo like in some tunnel. There's no special like room for it.
And a tunnel surrounded with lava.
Yeah. Kind of weird, actually. And then no need to actually like morph onto the track and just roll along it and potentially fall off. You can just jump on it, and then with some clever like lock-on dashing off of the enemies, you can just fly through this room in like any percent, and then you can just boost through the lava.
So this room coming up is probably one of the. It's not too difficult, but it's the easiest room to mess up, and messing it up is very punishing. Because it's such a tall room.
Sucks. It's really bad too if you like go out of bounds. Shout out to my voice cracking. Because the room is so tall, its bounding box is also really tall. So if you have to like aether jump up, it's just a mess. There's like an out of bounds you can do to skip needing plasma beam. It's actually one of the easiest out of bounds sequences to do in the game. But if you mess it up, it's really punishing. But I don't know if there's really an application for it besides.
Oh.
Nice power bomb.
So what happened there was sometimes this game will take away all of your jump height as you jump. I don't know why it does that.
I just saw it.
And there's no. Did it again. There's no way to avoid it either. If it happens, it happens, and that's all there is to it.
I don't know what to talk about.
How did...
Recovering.
Alright.
What the heck? Oh, I don't think you jumped far enough. That was weird. I'd say just, yeah, I really hate those invisible platforms a lot. I usually just shoot them with power beam just to make sure I'm not paranoid. But normally you can just jump up on, like, the second one and then do an R jump across, which is what... I think you can actually just L jump across, too.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. And also that dash across. I think there's another setup you can do to skip grapple beam, but... I only know the dash that edzan does. It's across, like, to the other side of the room. Hallel00, I have no opinion. So, oh well, nothing too wrong with safe strats here. It's just, that room's really dumb. You can lose a lot of time just falling down. All for 2 missiles too. That was kind of close with that morph there at the end. So coming up is Chozo cleanup. It's just cleaning up Chozo and getting like 20 something items there. It's really boring, very technical. You get to see lots of like dashes and stuff to go through, and you have boost balls, so you can just go through hallways pretty quickly. I'm not sure what there is to say about it. Like, there's just a lot of items, and they're all missiles and energy tanks, and a couple of Chozo artifacts. Although I'm not entirely sure when Artifact of Wild happens. But you also get to see some of the other Chozo Ghost fights. Which themselves, they in themselves are pretty annoying, but because edzan has super missiles now, they die pretty quickly, even without X-ray visor. Quality root cave. Yeah, and what's annoying about Chozo Ghosts, like you saw just earlier, if they hit you while you're not morphed, you just lose control over like being able to shoot and stuff. You can move around and jump, but you just can't shoot. So by not being able to shoot the purple door open, you can't. You could go into like morph ball if it was like a blue door, but because it's purple, only wave beam can open those doors. With blue doors, like practically anything that's not a missile can open them. And luckily, Retro was smart enough to program it so that enemy projectiles cannot open those doors. Although that'd be kind of cool if they could. Be like some really minor time save. Maybe. Probably not. Don't listen to me. Just don't listen to me. This is what happens when I'm just a noob. Oh, did you overshoot the boost there because of Oh no, you've been running 100%. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
I feel like I would overshoot that boost and then try to climb up the circular path to get out of Tower of Light because I'm used to not having gravity.
Oh.
So I'd just be like, boost, boost, boost. I'm like, oh shoot, I need to go back. Enemy manip strats to open doors and load zones faster. Yeah, if only. I guess there's like technically one where you can actually jump onto this rather large enemy, and it skips fighting him, and then you can just get to the other side of the room. It's actually kind of hilarious, like when you see it for the first time. I had no idea you could even do it.
Chozo cleanup, you are kind of going in a giant circle around the place, and then heading to
back to the Flogger room, right?
yeah, and then you head the whole point of this is you're heading to the sunken frigate in the end, which then leads you to mines.
Do you do front to back or reverse frigate?
The regular.
Okay.
Nobody does the reverse frigate yet.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way to route that in without it being slower. Like, on its own, is it actually faster, or is it still slower?
No, yeah, the whole route is faster. My task will be doing it.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Oh, like, you'll just do the back-to-front movement, do the out-of-bounds, and then go through the elevator?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, like, one of the hardest wall crawls in the game, I think, from what I've heard. Or at least with, like, no space jump or something like that. I don't remember. I just heard that. I think it's like if you don't have space jump, it's difficult. I don't know, Skull. I'm sorry. I'm basically pulling a Tom move at this point. I'm sorry. I'm just saying very anecdotal stuff without having anything to back it up. This saves 8 seconds. So in Hundo, you get to see the developer intended way of getting Artifact of Wild. So that any percent skip was found a long time ago, I think, for the infinite bomb jump. Just a huge time save. It's like a 5-minute time save over coming back after getting Spider Ball and missiles or super missiles. So what's also interesting about going through to Flogger's room, back to Flogger's room called the Sun Chamber this way is that if you don't fight Flogger and hit there's basically a trigger when you're going up that spider track that tells the game to load this room with the Chozo ghosts in it. It's what's called a layer, and rooms can have up multiple layers depending on like what the room is and what was programmed for the rooms. And also this ghost fight's really easy. You can just cheese them with super missiles. They die to one charge shot and one super missile. I mean, I don't know what I can talk about it, but I mean, you can, Skull, in chat. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so by hitting a trigger going up that shaft with the spider track in it, Flogger will basically not spawn if you don't fight him. So you have to fight him beforehand to get Various Suit. And it's neat if you can get a Chozo Ghost to die to the side of you. That way you can just dash back to the door. So let me backtrack a little bit to go down a shaft. There's a room called Vault that houses a missile. It's a one-way trip too. I guess unless you wall crawl it or something. I kind of wish that door that like leads out to the other side into the energy tank wasn't locked, but
isn't that one of the only one-way doors in the game?
Huh?
Isn't it one of the only one-way doors in the game?
It's the only locked door in the game, like permanently locked.
I wonder why they did that.
I guess because they knew you could jump up to it with space jump, and you can get space jump. I think it's because they knew you can get space jump early. So I don't know. Someone mentioned it. I'm pretty sure that was the reason though. Oh my god, Living Circuitry's playing Prime? What is this? Oh my god. My voice wants to just die forever.
Got one of the trickiest wall crawls coming up right here.
Yeah, it's really the hardest part of it is just getting out of bounds. I feel like you can lose a lot of time, but it's not hard to recover from. It just requires a bit of time. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Looks like I'm connected again.
Oh, yeah, you're alive.
Okay. Coolio.
Okay, keep going, son.
Well, there goes all my splits. Might as well turn them off.
Okay, so it looks like the stream's back online with some prime quality.
Yep.
Back on prime time slot.
That was annoying.
And I'll be eating a prime rib later. You can say I'm primed and ready to go. But I don't want to talk too loud because then there'll be echoes. I don't want to corrupt the stream. Also, hi. speaking of prime rib, shout out to that one like Newgrounds animation from like 30 years ago. This is all I'm gonna talk about because this is just the worst part of the run. There's like so many like technical things you can do, lots of technical movement going through hallways. Again, like using scan dashing to just traverse like large rooms, but all you're doing is collecting like tons of missiles. It's really nothing special.
It's kind of boring.
It really is. It's terrible. It's not even like I don't know. It's hard to talk about it in a way where it's like
Exciting.
you can make it interesting, except for the wall crawl that I completely missed. So.
Yeah, I think most people miss that wall crawl.
Yeah, basically, but you enter this room called training chamber backwards, and you like, you do this cool way to clip back into inbounds, by abusing what's called a. I'll just talk about it anyway since there's nothing else to talk about.
Yeah.
Crandibus practice stream inbound. Oh my god. All the Echoes runners. Someone find Grand Abyss in Trilogy, unless it's already a thing. I don't know. So with the training chamber wall crawl, it's actually not hard to really do. It just, if you fall down, you lose a lot of time.
Wow.
It involves abusing something called a traversal, and what traversal is it's the act of like going from of making the game think you're going from one room to another. So when the map sort of updates like what room you're in, you'll see the map kind of like zoom in on like smaller rooms, like a hallway. So it keeps track basically of what your current room is, but you can abuse that if you're going out of bounds by staying in the collision of another room that you're technically not in, but the collision is still there, it's loaded. And that's actually abused for some any percent tricks, or a any percent trick, in the case of Wave Sun. So by doing that, the way that like you act with collision in a room that you're technically not traversed into, lets you like sort of clip back in bounds from an out of bounds spot. It's kind of weird, but it's all for an energy tank, which isn't that special. But it lets you basically skip needing grapple beam for it. It's also just faster than it skips doing the Chozo Ghost fight in that room too, and that's like the most important part of the time save. So that's basically clearing out all, or Edzan basically cleared out all of the early Chozo area. Now he's in the second half here, collecting a couple more missiles and a Chozo artifact. And then by abusing this boost ball here, you actually don't need boost ball to get this item. You can climb up this sort of like ladder-like piece of collision. It's kind of weird. It's like part of the ruins geometry. And then you can just jump. You can land on those sort of pylon things or pegs that come out sideways, and then just clip into the morph track. Excuse me. So going back into the Hall of the Elders room with the statue, we have to collect the plasma item here.
Fun fact about this room.
Actually enter the room.
This room in the final product of the game is called. Wow, what is it called? I don't know. Anyways.
Elder Chamber.
Yeah, in the game files, it's called Chozo Bowling.
Oh my god, that's fantastic. Yeah, like the internal like sort of like names they give in like enemies and stuff are kind of funny. Are the venom weeds actually called spank weeds?
I have no idea.
Or is that just a meme? I mean, it is a meme, but like, is it just that? Is it just some concoction of like ice fire or something?
I'd like to think that they're part of the game, but I'm not sure.
Well, the good news is that Chozo cleanup's over, except it's followed by the second worst part of the run, which is Frigate.
Yeah, Sunken Frigate. It has the best soundtrack in the game, but it's also the most
really
boring.
Beautiful, like synth and piano piece. But you're going through Frigate again, so it's not that long of a section. The issue is you have to hit a bunch of power conduits with wave beam. It was a sort of a mechanic that they introduced in the Pirate Labs when you're going through it from front to back to front. Also, shouts to that collision. Kind of got stuck in there. It's annoying.
It was a sticky floor.
Oh, that. Yeah, sometimes when you like boost, you can get stuck randomly in the floor, partially. Now it's interesting because as you're boosting and stuck, you'll gain lots of speed. Think of it like a backwards long jump in Mario 64 to go upstairs. You'll just sort of stay in place while you're boosting and then just zoom at like a ridiculous amount of speed if you don't get stopped by a wall. It's pretty crazy.
Wow, that's the third time I've done that today.
I also neglected to thanks chat for reminding me that I neglected to talk about the slope jump in reflecting pool off the toad jump. That's not even the name for it. No one really calls it a name. I'll just call it toad jump because I'm terrible.
I don't think it has a given name.
Yeah. So there are these power conduits in the frigate that you can lock onto only if you have thermal visor. They only appear in your vision if you have the thermal visor equipped. You can shoot them without it. You don't need thermal visor to actually like hit them. It's just easier to spot them, especially in the first room, back in the reactor core room where you fought Parasite Queen. There's like 4 of them and they're all scattered about.
It's a very annoying room to do quickly.
Yeah, it's just.
I still haven't figured it out myself fully. The best way to do it.
I like kind of shoot the left-hand side power conduit on my way down, and then I shoot the right-hand side if I can, and then save the one on the bottom for like the second last. And then since the last one is like right next to the door, you can like save that one. I mean, it's not fast. It's not likely that fast. It all sucks. Like you need super missiles to get one of the items.
They're really called spankweeds. That's amazing.
Wow, that's incredible. Oh my god, I'm getting like a cold or something. Oh, the Reaper Vines. I thought it was the Venom Weed. Wow, that's incredible. Not cut weeds, not slash weeds. Spank weeds. Yeah, Reaper Vines are these like vines with eyeballs and like a scythe on the end. They're actually kind of a cool design, but now I have less respect for them now that they're called spank weeds. I don't hate them per se, like they haven't, I don't have a personal like grudge against them. They haven't killed my family, They haven't committed like tax fraud on me or something, but whatever, I don't care.
Oh.
Retro needs to explain this. Frigate's actually kind of cool for like casual play because you get 2 free energy tanks out of it. It's funny how like the most restrictive item that you need supers for is a missile. So we're not quite going to mines yet. Because we have power bombs, we can go to mines in 1 trip. You can also do that in any % too with the current route. It's also nice is you don't have to do gate skip or bar skip. Excuse me. Gate skip is the flogger one. So what's nice about this is that we can collect the rest of the talent items like before going into mines. So we just save all except for 1 item or 2 items. So there's 1 item that that Edzan didn't get before he went to frigate, and then there's the landing site one that's behind the ship. But other than that, talent will basically be cleaned up going to mines. So that bomb jump he tried to do is faster than trying to. This is actually the worst room in the game. It's terrible. It's a Life Grove tunnel. It's a really bad half pipe with really bad collision sometimes. So for like no reason, sometimes you'll just get stopped.
Yeah.
And then trying to build enough momentum to get to the top of the half pipe to get a missile expansion without like doing a full loop, a la like Sonic the Hedgehog style.
It's really
kind of
hard.
dumb. Very annoying. I find it easier like leaving to go back to Great Tree Hall, but it's still kind of a crapshoot. So Life Grove is very important. You get the X-ray visor in addition to another Chozo artifact. They're both required actually. There's an upcoming boss fight called the Omega Pirate that gives you the Phazon suit, which is another required item. For like any % in addition to Hundo, just because of Hundo being Hundo. You won't don't take damage unless you have X-ray visor equipped when you fight him. Oh, that was so close. And it's really punishing if you're trying to get X-ray visor without a boost ball, like in 21%. Like boost balls, like really needed for this room. If you don't want to like hit yourself.
I've done it without boost ball once, and I never want to do it again.
Yeah, you have to do what's called a half pipe bomb jump, and it's really bad. It's not the worst one in the game. There's actually there's a much worse one if you do it inbounds in Phazon Mines, which we're going to right now. So Mines is the late game area of Metroid Prime, sort of the last major region we go to before the actual final level.
Well, the final place really isn't even a place. It's kind of just like a connection to the final boss.
Yeah.
Sadly.
It's like 3 rooms and you're fighting Metroid Prime.
I'd have liked to
spoilers,
have seen it
sorry.
like as a big area.
There's like 2 hallways and like a big like platforming room to go through that you just skip half of. Doing Mines 100% is kind of weird. Like, you want to sort of cut through, but you kind of can't. Like, I'm not actually sure what the best like full clear routing for Mines is, for like upper Mines at least.
Pretty sure this is one of the best routes you can do for mines. You kind of go in a big circle and like.
Do you do the wave pirates and flamethrower now?
No, that's at the end. It's the very last thing.
So with the slope jump, you can skip needing spider ball to go up the track.
You are live.
Okay, I'm gonna unpause. In-game time
Hope
for
no
the
one heard
win.
that, but if they do, that's fine, because I'm pretty sure I've established like an hour ago that I'm mostly an idiot that sometimes says like correct things, so.
You're safe, lad. Stream's back.
Okay. No one will know. No one will ever know. So by cutting through to the there's another room that you have to scan usually from the other side when you're playing casually to move the crane and grapple across, because it leads you to grapple beam, but you can just do a scan dash across and then cut your way into this part of the upper section of the Phazon Mines. And then Edson's doing the safer strat, but that elite pirate that came out, gigantic like space pirate, you know, gave him a bunch of steroids and Phazon. Excuse me. You can actually just jump on him, and then just jump up to the this bit of collision, and then just get to the top of the room quickly without even fighting him.
So normally
Ideally, you don't even have to fight him at all.
So normally this would be the last E-tank or energy tank that you acquire before the very last one. And between these two energy tanks, I'm going to be taking or using all of the energy that I have in order to get an artifact a lot earlier than I was supposed to.
Yeah, we won't be in that room quite yet, but
a minute.
we're getting closer and closer.
Well, the reason I bring it up is because normally I have to keep an eye on my health from now until that room, so I don't take too much damage.
Let me know when you need serious time, by the way.
I'm sorry?
When you get to that room, just let me know when you want serious time.
Oh, it's no big deal.
Okay. Yeah, I think you need a minimum of like 11 tanks just to be able to survive.
Yeah.
So he has 13, which is good. Gives him a bit more variance, but yeah, you just take a ton of damage. You're expected to basically get Phazon suit first, and then go through that room because you take no damage from Phazon. But Phazon just lots of DPS. Like it does damage over time, and then gradually it just accelerates to where you're taking like an energy tank's worth of damage like every couple of seconds.
43 square maze.
23?
Whoa, what? I think I forgot how to do maze finder or something. I did it wrong again.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Maybe Icefire or someone can. I have no idea.
Oh, this was the right way.
Learn RuneScape, yeah. The best way to play RuneScape is to press some buttons and then do something else while you're gaining experience. Or I guess you could just do auto hockey.
Or just cheat.
Or just not play RuneScape.
Yeah, that works really well too.
I'm sorry, Justin. I'm sorry, Misa.
Well, since I have a very high risk chance of dying up ahead, I'm going to save.
Good time to save. So that powerbomb maze is there's like 300 possible mazes. It's chosen entirely at random when the room loads. You can also thank Zoid for that, for all the randomness. The best maze you can get is 15 squares, and the worst one is 55.
And there's only one 55.
Yeah. You have a 1 in... I don't know how the probability is calculated for it, but assuming each room has an equal chance of spawning, or each maze has an equal chance of appearing, it's a 1 in 300 chance. So, if you're like a Pokemon streamer and you shiny hunt with a shiny charm, think of that kind of probability. So now Edson's entering the lower mines. There's some interesting movement you can do where you're where the Metroid's positioned are kind of important, because then you can do a combat dash off of them to the other side of the Phazon pit. In any percent, you would need to abuse a slope jump if you don't have Spider Ball. So Edson does, so it's not that big of a deal, but he'll want to slope jump up anyways because it's faster to get to a this missile expansion that's up here. Normally, you actually scan dash off the missile expansion, off of this rafter, to get to the other side of the room without Spider Ball.
I held L for too long.
Oh no. Oh, did you hold L and walk off the platform?
Well, you'll see what I did. I just held L for too long.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's because my finger's all bandaged up right now, so I'm not used to it.
Oh, that's not good. Yeah, dashing is it's like a two-part component to it. For a good like jump, you want to flick the B button, which is used for jumping, as soon as possible. You want to like hold down the button as you're pressing it as fast or just as little as possible. But then the other part of it is there's a bit of timing on when you want to stay locked on and when you want to let go. It's about 7 frames, like 7 to 8 frames after you input the jump, and that'll give you like the longest, like highest jump. With practice, you can become pretty consistent with the jumps, but there's some other jumps too, like going through Reflecting Pool. Although, I think you only go through it backwards in if you even go through it backwards at all. Do you go back through piston tunnel from training chamber,
No.
or I meant to say magma pool. Sorry, not reflecting pool.
Yeah.
There's a scan dash you can do in the magma pool room, which has a power bomb expansion in it. I believe it's safer doing it from back to front. Also, this is the difficult room we're talking about with full phase on. You need 11 energy tanks just to survive. Oh, okay. I'll shut up.
I don't think I'm gonna make it.
Yeah, I think you missed a bomb earlier.
Yep.
And then also, ideally, you want to boost up the wall and just grab the artifact without laying a bomb and waiting for a second. Oh, no. That's unfortunate. I don't even know if that's like the most dangerous run killer though, just because you can fall down in Findrana's Edge, as well as Root Cave and a bunch of other stuff. So it's definitely a good thing you saved. So good thinking on that, Edson.
Yeah.
Also, the turrets in this room that he's going through, again, they're called mega turrets, and they do more damage than the standard turrets you see in like Findrana Drifts and in the beginning section of the game. And there's 4 of them in that room. It's kind of ridiculous. I think I think a couple of runners were discussing a strat a couple weeks ago with just skipping, turning off the turrets, which is dumb. I feel like. Nice double freeze.
Yeah.
I think they both died too from the missile.
Oh, you kidding? I got too much hype from that ghetto.
What sucks about the first Prime game, especially when you're doing like out of bounds, is if you walk off of a ledge while holding down the L button, you just have momentum and you just continue falling off at that given momentum without having any control over your jump or over your movement as you fall down. And then you can't input like a space jump either.
Alright, round 2 coming up. Let's hope I can get past this.
You know, worst comes to worst, you can just do the early newborn strat. It's a lot safer. I'm kidding. It's a lot safer in that you don't take damage, but you can also, or you don't take as much damage, but then you can just soft lock instead, so it doesn't matter.
I don't even know how to do that, so...
Oh, really?
Nope.
Oh, I thought you did early newborn 90%. I didn't know that.
Never learned it.
It's a really hard trick from what I've heard. It's one of the hardest wall crawls in any percent. Actually, one of the newest, like strats found for any percent, I think last year. So,
yeah.
Yeah, so being in Morph Ball and Link Bombs, you kind of don't want to miss any bombs or really just slow down significantly. Oh my god. So I'm guessing you're just gonna play it safe in Fungal Hall. And it sucks that you're not in Fungal Hall A because those 100 Metroids can drop Ultra Energy.
Well, so can these.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he has to be a bit careful going into MQB with this little health. The upcoming Plasma Troopers can do a lot of damage. But they die pretty easily, so it's kind of a trade-off. Thankfully, those plasma troopers were nice to him, but yeah, reloading the room is kind of better at the point. Oh no, because the Metroids I think load that after that layer, right? So
Yeah, I just changed the layer.
so by scanning the and turning off the force field, it's a lot safer to go through that room. Because plasma troopers are just annoying. There's 4 of them, or no, there's 4 of them in the beginning section, and then there's just wave and plasma troopers in the past the force field, and it's just a mess. So, oh well, we're safe for the marathon for the rest of the run. There's like no chance of dying.
Yeah, no, we're good for now.
Just slow down.
I don't have to worry about anything.
So. So here's the Omega Pirate. Actually, like one of the fastest boss fights. It's pretty crazy what kind of strats you can do with 100%. Even like 21. Well, 21% is just bad. 80% has a pretty good setup for OP to kill him pretty quickly. But what happens is there's like 2 phases of the fight that he'll constantly switch between when you're playing casually. Ice Troopers are good too because you can just freeze them both in place and then just kill them if they're together, like you just saw. So you have to shoot 5 missiles at like 4 plates of armor on his body, and then what happens is he'll turn invisible and spawn in individual pools of Phazon to heal himself. So in 100% you have super missiles, so you can just shoot them at him. The boss fight can take a while, depending on like how skilled you are. He doesn't have that much health though. He only has 600 health, which is like the lowest of all the bosses in the game. So by setting it up so that there's with a couple missiles and then 3 super missiles, he just dies in 3 rounds. You can also do a 3-round fight with plasma beam and power bombs, but it's you have to be trickier. A little bit more precise on where you lay like the power bomb to kill him. And then also this fight's the main reason we get X-ray visor as well as the final boss. It's required just to get Phazon suit. You don't need it to take or to deal damage to Metroid Prime's second fight. It's just easier to hit him.
Million
I
worldwide.
really hope I didn't.
I don't care about the rest of the world, Dalton. I care
I
about
don't
me.
think you have.
So America, 13 million.
You got NQB, you got
Wait,
Fungal Hall B,
we were over
you
half
got
of the
Fungal Hall access.
Yes.
entire sales of the
I think I'm
GameCube.
good.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're good too.
I'm proud of that.
Japan was 4.04, and then other was 4.77.
Fungal Hall B
Wow.
in particular is like kind of out of the way.
Okay.
Or not out of the way, it's just easy to miss. 'Cause you
Bob,
can see- you have to
talk
use,
about
like,
your
the
game
roll
real
to
quick
it
so I
for
can see if
X-ray.
your audio is good.
Hey, this game nobody knows about, and nobody will care about it.
Milk, we are on stream.
Oh,
I feel like I missed Phazon Processing Center more. Well, I don't know. Most of my like item collection runs I do are in randomizers and not like actual 100%. I've only ever done like 100% run. I've done like strats for it though, but yeah.
Something happened to the stream?
No, it's Silicon Vale. It's my girlfriend. She's like, "What's going on?" So, what Edzan just did, you know, the elite pirate in that room is still active, and so you want to. There's a trigger that's in front of the the doorway, that is just narrow enough that you can slip in between it and the wall. So by doing a jump off of the sort of like that containment tank or whatever, and then sliding along the wall, you'll barely just bypass the trigger, and then you won't be able to fight him. It's not that big of a time loss for in-game time, but it's still faster to skip him. And then because Edzan is Spider Ball, no spiderless shafts needed. Yeah, shafts in 80% are a pretty technical trick to do. But it's more of a, I feel like it's more of a hard to learn, but once you have the once you understand how it works, it's not too hard to practice.
Oh.
And these turrets up here can just knock you off. They're terrible. And then 100% because, well, hold on. Before I say that, this Phazon Elite fight here, you actually need to have the power bomb, like the main power bomb upgrade, not the expansions, in order to actually trigger the fight. You can't just lay a power bomb and then fight him. It expects you to have that upgrade obtained for the trigger to actually like activate. It's really weird. It's like the only item in the game that requires that. There's some other behavior that's dependent on like item collection. Usually it's with like different room layers loading, like in Findrana and Magmore, as well as a couple of rooms in Phazon Mines, but that's kind of the extent of it. So this room to collect the artifact is the only one where you're actually required to obtain like the power bombs before you, just to be able to fight the Phazon Elite boss or mini boss kind of deal guy, person, not even a person, just an alien. And so Edzen's kind of backtracking through the rest of upper Phazon Mines to collect, I think it's 3 more items.
Yeah, I'm getting flamethrower and another missile expansion.
Oh no, 2 more, sorry.
Yeah, that should be it. And then there's 2 more
Now,
missiles after that.
Going through this room backwards is a bit dangerous. It's not. It's easy to beat. What happens is by going through the room backwards, the room is supposed to lock. The door behind you in the intended way you're supposed to enter is supposed to lock, but it doesn't lock until you get close to the door. And so he can't kill those purple wave pirate troopers until, or he can't at least kill the last one until he locks the door. Because the door won't unlock unless it's already locked. So
Yeah,
by getting close to it,
it would just be a soft lock.
yeah, you'll just soft lock and you can't get out because both doors lock basically. And then he collects the last beam combo flamethrower. It's mostly useless, although in Hundo it has some uses, mainly for the final boss. Or I guess it has exactly 1 use. And what's funny about flamethrower is you can actually damage the first phase of the final boss has like beam dependent like hitboxes, like color phases. It's kind of weird. And flamethrower can hit the power phase for some reason. I think the Fizzy Metroids in like PAL and Trilogy don't appear until you kill OP though. Hazel.
Yeah, they don't.
And it's kind of dumb that they're in Phazon Mines to begin with. I mean, it's fitting that they are, but they're not in. They're not in any version of the NTSC copy of the game. I think it was a PAL only thing, or PAL and I guess.
Yeah, I got flamethrower.
As far as I know, he's cleared mines.
I'm like
he collected all
90%
lower
sure I
mine
have
stuff.
every item.
And I saw him get the MQB missile. Yeah, flamethrower and wavebuster are kind of weird missile combos. The main beam combos that are useful are super missiles and then ice spreader. They're both like single shot attacks that do lots of damage. Super missile is like the single most powerful attack in the game, barring a glitch with boost ball that you'll see coming up. It's pretty great.
I thought Ice Spreader did more damage.
Ice spreader does 150 and supers do 180.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
I guess Ice Spreader could do more. I don't know if it's... I guess they do more against Metroid Prime, actually.
Yeah.
If it has the multiplier on them. So then they're more powerful than Supers. But on their own for, like, base damage, Supers do 180.
Okay, I didn't know that.
But, I mean, Boost Ball, though, secretly is the best weapon.
Yeah.
I really hope someone does a TAS of a mod where Boost Ball will just kill everything. And I'll touch on that in a couple minutes. Where there's only like 2 items left for Edzan to clean up.
2 missile expansions, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the moment of truth.
Yeah, so the moment of truth is he saves at the ship, which unlike regular save stations, which only heal you and don't restore your ammunition, the ship restores everything. So you refill missiles and power bombs. And there are ammo stations that are, well, missile stations in Prime that will restore your missile count. There's like 3 of them total. They're actually really rare.
Oh, I used both jumps.
Tom Prime, oh my god. I guess you could sum that up as Tom Prime, my whole commentary of this run. So there's the first missile. You can actually get it as soon as you get missiles and bombs, but just routing wise, it's faster saving it for the end. And this is a cool like instant unmorph you can do by morphing under that like, or when you're going under that like hanging like piece of terrain. And there's what should be the last missile. So the issue is we still have one more artifact to collect at the artifact temple, which leads to the final level. So we don't get the, oh, you collected all 100% of the items. So you find out at the ship.
Oh, looks like it's 100%.
Hey, nice. Oh, didn't get chip dash. I'm sad.
Yeah, that was close.
There's a slope jump you can do as a backup here, but it's kind of weird. It's not that bad, but it can be dumb sometimes. Also, one of the last unskippable cutscenes.
Actually, the last unskippable cutscene
think it's
is
Ridley.
during Essence.
Oh, no, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's the ones when you're going through the sub-chambers in the fight.
I'm gonna guess this is like a 121 at my current pace.
That's actually not too bad for Marathon. I mean, you also had to reset, so it's not single segment anymore.
Yeah.
So, save the last artifact for last. It's just in the area you need to be in before the end. And there's the 100%, so valid segmented run. So here's our friend Ridley. He's come to join the fight, finally. Retro teased him in the beginning. You're like, when am I going to find him, man? And then he decides to find you instead. So that looks pretty good. Yep, got him. So you just saw that almost all of Ridley's health go away. It's amazing because secretly the boost ball is the most powerful weapon in the game, at least against Ridley. There's a developer oversight where he actually can take damage from boost ball, and boost ball just happens to do a little bit of damage, just about 50,000 per frame that the hitbox is active.
I believe Ridley has 2,000 health.
He has 2,610 health, and 2,000 of it is for the flying phase, which is like the worst part of the fight. So you just get to skip that, and it's fantastic. And then by getting him during the flying section beforehand, you can save a bit on in-game time and actually have a cutscene play out. If you don't get it before before having to wait and let him come back onto the ground, the cutscene won't play out, so then you just lose on some in-game time. So the ground phase is just decently fast, but there's a bit of RNG with when he decides to open his mouth so that you can stun him and then actually deal damage to his chest. But there's a setup where you can just you fire like 5 missiles and 4 to 3, and then there's like a second part of the ground phase where he moves a lot faster.
If you do it
ground
right,
phase is a lot more consistent of the fight. So you think, oh well, you know, Medrily has all these attacks he can do, and the flying phase is slow, but nope, just boost into him. I don't know which version patched that. I think it's 1.0 and 1.1 only.
I think, didn't all versions past this version patch it?
I don't know if Player's Choice onwards is when it got patched or not, so.
That sounds right.
I think it's Player's Choice, but it might be PAL. But yeah, it's kind of amazing, because, like, only, like, minor enemies, not even, like, other bosses take damage from boost, as far as I know, so. But that was actually a pretty decent Ridley fight.
Yep. I don't think I messed anything up.
So Impact Crater is the final level. It's like 4 rooms total besides the boss fight rooms. By doing a slope jump onto these vines, you just skip having to go across to the other side of the room, so you can just immediately skip like almost half the room,
What was that camera?
if not more than half. And then one last hallway full of phase on that. Yeah, orange phase on is kind of weird. It's only in that area for a bit, and then it can damage you. It's, I guess, just sort of a final obstacle before the boss. Yeah, I don't know why Impact Crater has doors. It's kind of weird. So here's the first of the two final boss fights. Metroid Prime Exoskeleton or Exo. It's pretty fast when you have tons of missiles, super missiles, ice spreader. Wave Buster helps too, although it still isn't. I don't know. Wave Beam just kind of sucks against Metroid Prime. It's the weakest charged attack that you have for just a regular charge beam. It does 40 damage for the fully charged shot.
But it homes in, so.
It does home in, yeah, if you're locked on. And then like the individual wave beam shots do like 2 damage each, but you get 3 projectiles out of it. So.
I am surprised.
The Wave Buster is also very missile intensive. Nice orb. Isn't the other one like behind you or something? Yeah, I think it is. Or no. Oh no, they were just together, I think. Never mind. There's some weird behavior where like if you, I guess, damage Metroid Prime as soon as it spawns the orb. I don't know if it's like a frame perfect thing or not. I think there's a way it behaves where the orbs will just spawn like out of bounds and behind you.
Yeah, usually they spawn out of bounds.
But yeah, the trick with with this first fight is that each individual like phase of the fight gets progressively longer. So he'll spawn in different color patterns. He has 4 different ones that correspond to your beam weapons. The first subchamber or phase, he'll be in power and wave form, so yellow and purple. And then the second one, he'll include in the ice color, which is white. And then the third subchamber is all 4 beams, and then the fourth subchamber is all 4 beams, but he kind of just does whatever he wants. He can change colors at will, do all sorts of attacks, speed up randomly for no reason. It's just most of the time it's not that bad, but he can be a real pain in the butt sometimes.
That was some strange
then,
lag I had there.
Yeah, I don't know if that was your stream or if that was actually your game.
No, that was the game. That's why I missed the shot.
Ice Beam is actually really nice in this fight, even without enough missiles for Ice Spreader, because it has a 1.5 times damage multiplier. I mean, it's a Metroid. It's weak to ice. But even with Force Jump Chamber, again, he has super missiles, Ice Spreader, Wave Buster. So I don't know how much time you can save over like any percent. It's like 1-2 minutes, I think, right? Or even that.
It saves roughly a minute or 2, yeah.
And then what's funny too with the beam combos, you can actually technically skip Ice Beam if you have good enough luck and hit him with like supers before ice, and just hope that you can skip an ice phase. From what Whiskers told me, I believe it's plausible though.
I hope that missile hit.
So someone will have to make a cool task of that. Oh my god, he had like 2 or 4 health left or something. I can't wait for when Prime inevitably goes to RTA timing, and then runs will be determined by whether or not you get the fast death cutscene.
Prime will never go to RTA.
Where he destroys the wall. So here's the Essence fight. It's a lot shorter than the Exo fight. If done right, it'll take about 2 minutes to complete. Also, there's Flamethrower. Only real application for it, just to waste missiles. Nothing will damage Metroid Prime. You have to wait for her or him. I'm not sure what. I'm assuming genders. I'm sorry. So you have to wait for it to lay these Phazon pools. They're your ammunition for the Phazon beam, which you get with the Phazon suit. Excuse me. And it's kind of in a weird spot. Hopefully it's not too close to the trigger. If he's too close to the corpse, what Metroid Prime? Okay, that's bad. If he's too close to the corpse, he'll just immediately change to phases, I guess. So like either from X-ray to thermal, and he just did it from what I'm seeing. So what Edzen's trying to do is attack canceling, where he damages Metroid Prime. God, that's really bad.
Yeah, this
He
guy.
just won't move.
No.
So there's two techniques for the Essence fight. One is attack canceling, where Prime has a set like queue of attacks, I think, where it does a certain number of actions, whether it's moving, like howling at you, roaring at you, or doing its like only actual attack, which is dropping this like shockwave or something. So you can skip the animations and all the attacks that it does by shooting it with the phazon beam. Right as it's attacking, it'll just skip to its next attack, or if it's done attacking you, it'll lay the next phazon pool. And then this other technique that Edzen's doing, where he's moving in and out of the pool and like deactivating the phazon beam as he's firing it. I don't think there's an official name for it, but it helps you conserve your phazon beam ammunition and actually be able to deal out more damage. So in an ideal fight, you can finish. You can actually finish the Prime fight in as little as 2 pools. But the standard setup that I do and a lot of other runners do is 3. And then what's neat about the attack canceling is that you can just basically keep shooting Metroid Prime with the phazon beam, and then have it immediately lay another pool, so then you can just keep shooting it. And then because you have power bombs, the Metroids that spawn out of it aren't even a problem. Not bad.
152.18 is what I got. Don't know how accurate that is. Give or take a bit.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it's going to be the in-game time. Do you care if we take like a minute or so to see the in-game time?
I'm gonna guess this is
It's like a low 120.
121.
Yeah, I'll say 121 too.
That's my guess. Credits are gonna
World
be
record
up here.
for 100% is 111 by Justin DM. And I have a 109 and 80%, so that's how good like the top 10 runners are, which Edzen is definitely top 10, if not top 5.
Top 6.
Top 6. That was close. God, there's so much to talk about, and not enough time to talk about stuff, unless you're in Chozo cleanup. It's fantastic.
And then you have nothing to talk about.
Yeah, pretty much. The Go-Gurt suit.
Well, the credits
Shout out to
will
Solid.
finish up here in about 1 minute. That'll be the end.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. I know my commentary was like all over the place, and I kind of explained stuff after you guys saw it happening.
It was good, son. It was good.
Appreciate it. It's what I get for doing no preparation whatsoever. I've got no like Word doc saying, hey, talk about this. Hey, insert a dumb meme here. But hey, at least you get to see the good ending. There's like just the regular ending where no real cutscene happens after she takes off her helmet. It just goes to credits.
Yeah.
And then if you get like, I think 80% of the items or more or something like that. Nah, that's I think that's a bit high. I'm not sure.
It's 75%.
75. But then you get the whole full on, oh, she takes her helmet off. You can see her face.
Yeah, it's 75 and
She
100%
looks sad.
is the final ending.
Yeah, you get the little FMV that sets up the cliffhanger.
Yep. Alrighty. Yeah. 121.
Hey, nice work.
Alright, well that was a fun run, despite the death in
Hey, thanks for
technical
having me.
issues.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, son. Thank you for saving my marathon.
Yeah, no problem. It was fun.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Is there anything you want to plug or say after? Nothing? No? You good?
I will say shout outs to Tom Loop for being Canadian.
Go watch.
And a reminder that Metroid Prime runs at 40 frames per second. Not
Go
60.
watch the Metroid Prime Any Percent task by Hazel, and
Yes.
go watch my 100% task on my channel.
Yeah, the 80%
should be
task
all.
does it in. So RTA or the single segment world record is 53 minutes for any percent. It's tied by Justin and T3. The task does it in 37 minutes, which is incredible, and it does some unbelievable like task tricks.
Well,
Definitely watch that.
I think we're done here, though.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'm Bash Prime, and Edzan